good afternoon. So today we are going to share you some information about inflation in Zimbabwe and Sri Lanka. So first of all, what is inflation? Inflation means the general increase in the price of goods and services in an economy. When the general price level rises, each unit of currency buys gets fewer goods and services. Consequently, reduction in the purchasing power of money. Means when inflation occurs, the value of money decreases and the price rises of all goods and services in all the sectors of economy. Now the topics that we are going to cover is situation of Zimbabwe at the time of inflation and the situation of Sri Lanka at the time of inflation. Now first of all, what is the history of Zimbabwe, that how it came into existence? So Zimbabwe was established by the British in 1890. Earlier Zimbabwe was known as Rhodesia. Once the earlier name of Zimbabwe was Rhodesia, then after 1980 it was known as Zimbabwe. So Zimbabwe got independence on April 18, 1980. Zimbabwe became the breadbasket of Africa. Means this statement gives us meaning that Zimbabwe was a good production of South Africa. Now Zimbabwe's main occupation was in agriculture and mining. During the years of 2000 to 2007, agriculture production fails up to 51%. Its industrial production also fails up to 47%. Now Zimbabwe, as it was an agrarian country like India, and there were many mining fields also. So during the years of 2000 and 2007, many calamities and many economic crises occurred in Zimbabwe. So their agriculture, which was their main production, gets failed up to 51%, means more than half, and its industrial production also fails up to 47%. Now the situation of Zimbabwe at the time of inflation. Many blacks cannot afford goods and food in the market. Business owners were allowed to charge whatever price they want, since there was hard to find also, so it was very expensive. Local business have difficult time competing imports from USA, England and South Africa. Means at the time of British rule, the blacks which were not able to find the food because there was lack of food because of the agriculture production was failed up to 51%. So whatever the production was happened, that was given to white people, and the black was cannot afford because there was so much demand of food and the supply was very less. As the demand was very more, supply is very less, the price of food increases. So local business have a difficult time with competing imports. As there was no food, they have to import foods from the other countries like USA, England and South Africa. When business fails, people of Zimbabwe lose their jobs because more unemployment. White farmers was having 98% of ownership of farmlands. Zimbabwe is a country of 90% black population and not having ownership of their own farmlands. The white farmers had to pay lower wages as compared to black farmers. And means there was no food, the price rises and the inflation occurs, which causes unemployment and people will start lose their jobs. 98% of ownership, white farmers are having 98% of ownership. Means the Zimbabwe was a country of black people with 90% of population was black and 10% only was with white people. But the white farmers had to pay lower wages as compared to black farmers. Means black farmers are exploited by the Britishers. They have to pay less wages. They were paying less wages, less remuneration as compared to whites. Now hyperinflation was occurring 2000 to 2008 in Zimbabwe. The inflation went up to 25,000%. Example of this was one egg is equal to 50 Zimbabwean dollar, 50 billion Zimbabwe dollar. This is an example. You can imagine that one egg cost 50 billion dollars Zimbabwe. Now this is the graph of Zimbabwe hyperinflation rate. As you can see, in 1980 it was normal 10 to 7%, but as the time passes, in 2004 to 2007, it reaches to its peak dairy inflation of 98%. In 98% inflation was increase in dairy. It went up to 10 lakh percentage. Many reasons for hyperinflation. Main reason for hyperinflation, the government began increase the rate at which they were printing money. They increases the money supply. This started with printing money to finance a war in the Congo and loses to increase the salaries of officials and soldiers. But as the economic crisis burst, printing money became a very short-term solution to try and people relying on the government. Means government started to increase their printing money production. So as the money supply increases, the value of money goes down. The main reason for this was the Congo war that occurred in Zimbabwe. So government was lack with money. So government need to pay the fees and salaries to the soldier and the officials. So government started printing money for the Congo war. But as the economic crisis was, means this was a short-term solution. After they were increased the printing money, the money value goes down. Zimbabwe people gets more and more money. Due to decline in output, there was shortage of goods, which pushes prices up. Nominal demand was rising because people had more paper money. As people have more money, they started demanding more, and the supply was as usual as normal. So therefore, the demand rises, and as people have more paper money, they started to increase the demand. So as prices rises. So the Zimbabwe people was mainly dependent on the government because this was a very short-term solution. So these were the image of paper notes printed by Reserve Bank of Zimbabwe. As you can see, from 5 Zimbabwe dollar to 25 Indian. So what was the solution of this hyperinflation? The simple solution was that government eventually stopped printing Zimbabwe dollars and normalized the practice of using the US dollars. So they stopped the Zimbabwe dollars and come back to US dollar again to stop the inflation.
This was the situation of Sri Lanka at times of inflation. Debt in billions, years of accumulated borrowings, lack of foreign currency, crucial sectors witnessing a sharp fall in demand. The government mismanagement and among the reasons that have dragged Sri Lanka into not just an unpredicted economic crisis but also a massive political turmoil. Due to the mismanagement done by the Sri Lanka, therefore the economic crisis came in Sri Lanka. Situation of Sri Lanka times of inflation. Sri Lanka's inflation its seventh consecutive record high in April as petrol shortage and food prices sharply. Due to the inflation its seventh consecutive record, the petrol shortage and food prices rose sharply. The Sri Lanka's government raised the petrol prices by 24.3% and diesel by 38.4%. A record hike in fuel prices amid the country's worst economic crisis due to the shortage of foreign exchange reserves. This was the Sri Lanka's high fuel prices as it faces economic collapse. This was the picture. Sri Lanka's consumer inflation rises to a new record in May. In 2014, there was 5% inflation rises in Sri Lanka, and in 2022 there was 39.1% inflation rises in May. Food inflation surged 57.4%, while price of non-food items jumped 30.6%. Sri Lanka's situation has become worse if a person is suffering from any disease, they are not able to get the medicine to cure it. Sri Lanka has cancelled examinations for millions of students as the country ran out of printing paper and the cash-strapped country could not pay more imports. The Department of Education said school principals cannot hold the test as but its printers are unable to secure foreign exchange to import necessary papers anymore. For Sri Lankans, the country's ongoing debt crisis has become a cause of growing anxiety and frustration. People are worried and there is a lot of anger directed at the government. The country is already in a big hole. Hopefully, they don't dig a bigger hole and will just resolve the debt problem.